Hey everyone. This is the handsome Chalkie. He is a deaf Wadi dog from the Middle East. He is deaf and very fascinated by the window, as you can tell. So he relies a lot on his sense of seeing, obviously, smell, because he cannot hear a thing. I can drop a saucepan next to him, like literally drop it on the floor, and he will not even flinch, because if he can't see it, there's no chance he can hear it. Some dogs can hear the vibration or like feel the vibration. With him, he's quite unsensitive to this, so he's relying a lot, as you can see, on his sense of seeing. He's a proper sight hound, so yes, this is something that is important for us. I'm sorry I'm filming this on my phone, but I would like to talk with you today about one thing that is super important that he definitely taught me. And I think that is really important for so many of us, and what we can learn from this, even if you do not have a deaf dog. And what I learned from this gorgeous boy is how much we rely on verbal cues in our training on communication with our dogs. And I had Rambo trained for hand signals before, so that if we would be in a coffee shop or somewhere else and we would be cueing, that he would still be able to sit or stand with me, or in the park if he was running around. I use hand signals for Rambo too, in order to not scream through the park like a maniac, but also to guide him in which direction to go, when to come back, etc. So I found this quite helpful, and I thought I would have this down quite good already, I guess, until I adopted a deaf dog who totally relies on body language communication and hand signals. So him and I, we do learn hand signals together. We do it bit by bit. We find our ways to communicate and to basically learn our language, the language we use at home. And also, while he's getting used to touch, we are still the only people who can touch him. As you can see, there's no issue of me being really close to him, which is really helpful. So we totally rely on him to understand body language. And in this video, I would like to talk with you about why it's so important, I believe, to train even your hearing dog for hand signals. And this has a few reasons, but there's one main reason. Afterwards, I would like also to talk with you about a way how you can check how good your hand signals or your non-verbal communication with your dog is. The reason why you might want to check this is because way too often we rely on our voice and we talk to our dogs quite a bit. So you might have heard this, like someone in the park, and the person would be like, Chalkie, 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 goodbye, Chalkie, Chalkie, Chalkie. And yes, I might have overdone it a bit now. However, very often this is the case, that people are talking so much to their dogs that the dog really has difficulties filtering out what is a command, what does the owner want, and using the name too often can become just white noise. It's just like something in the background, but it's no longer rewarding. It's no longer something the dog would necessarily react to. So I think it would just increase everyone's relationship with their dog if they can also communicate non-verbally. The magic of treats. One of the obvious reasons why you would want to train your dog with non-verbal signals is that obviously if you're out and about and you don't want to shout after your dog, or you just want your dog to be able to understand you wherever you are, that you can communicate, even if there's like loads of people calling their dogs, etc. So you also quite naturally increase the level of your dog's eye contact. So your dog checking in with you, because your dog needs to look at you, obviously, in order to understand what you are communicating. And you're so cute. You are so cute. And the signals you're giving your dog. Then obviously also if you're on the phone or you just simply cannot talk, you have still a way to communicate with your dog. Your dog can still understand what you want from him, and you kind of just know how to get in touch with your dog. One of the biggest benefits probably though is that even if you have a young dog, you might want to prepare for a potential hearing loss your dog could suffer. And often it's obviously dogs in older age that suffer from hearing loss, but it could also be a younger dog. It could be an accident. It could also be that later on you might just find out that your puppy is deaf. Often, especially if you have like a white dog or adopt even like a proper like from breeder a dog, they might be deaf, and you might not be able to tell right away if the dog is deaf, or the breeder might doesn't tell you, doesn't know. You know, there's like loads of stories. And I think to be able to still communicate with the dog, and obviously also if your dog ages, older dogs, senior dogs, pretty often suffer the loss of hearing. So if you would want to support your older dog during age and also not lose communication, not lose touch, then this is definitely something to practice from early age on, or earlier onwards, not just when it's needed, but when, basically to prevent losing that communication. Not just as an amazing training opportunity to have your dog trained also in verbal signals, but also it's just really important. It's just really important for you to keep that connection. So often I see people who have a deaf dog who kind of don't really know how to communicate with the dog. They don't know how to train the dog. They are just completely overwhelmed. If a dog gets older, hearing loss is just one of the main things your dog has to deal with. Having a senior dog around might also be that this dog has arthritis, has maybe health issues, and is maybe also not that optimistic anymore. You might want to work on tolerance of frustration and other things rather than training sign language. So if this is one thing you could basically scratch from your list because you've already done it, and it's just an amazing way to also communicate with your dog, then, you know, why not? Why not get ahead of the game and make your life easier, but also make your dog's life easier? And yes, I think this is definitely one of the main reasons why you might want to train your dog in hand signals and in verbal signals. And as promised, I have also a way for you to figure out how much you rely on verbal cues, where this, how strong is your connection, your non-verbal connection, your kind of use of body language and hand signals already with your dog. And I would like you to test this in a safe space. You can do this at home, and you can do this maybe out and about, to just really check different levels of communication with your dog and where you're at with your dog. And this is to really do not talk with your dog for just a short amount of time. This can be quite confusing for your dog, as it could be for you, obviously, because if you're like really relying on verbal signals and talking to your dog, then this might be quite confusing. But this can also show you nicely that you might have some work to do and where you want to start working on. You can do this easily by just teaching your dog, when you give your dog a verbal command, and then use the hand signal for it. And I mean, there's loads of videos on how to use American Sign Language for dogs. We just basically made up our own hand signal, so you're quite free on what you use, how you use it, but I think it's definitely worth a go, at least for the things like sit, stand, close by, or like come to me, walk on my heel, and just to have like some basic commands down so you and your dog are ready and set up for success. If you're interested in more senior dog content, I recently filmed a video about ways to spend more quality time with your senior dog, and I also filmed a video about my deaf dog and the arrival and how I got prepared for my deaf dog, etc. So I will link all of them down below so you can keep watching if you like to. I will see you next time. Thank you very much. Bye.